Did you ever set yourself a goal that you didn't achieve? It can feel like failure, right? Especially when your income depends on it. And that was my reality in 2024. I decided to turn my side hustle into my main source of income, but I only ended up generating about 10% of what I initially planned. How do I still manage to look on the bright side? What are the lessons I've learned that I wish someone told me a year ago? That's the topic of today's video. You'll find out what to expect if you want to turn your engineering side hustle into a business and what you can learn from my mistakes. But first, a bit about my background. I started as a freelancer in my 20s, so I should know how to run a business, right? Well, not really. The very reason I gave up my freelance business was that I couldn't get enough clients. Plus, selling billable hours is a very different game from selling workshops and software products. So for decades, I worked at larger tech companies, mostly as a lead developer and engineering manager. I was reasonably successful at it. My teams built products that users loved and features that collectively generated millions of euros in revenue. But I never truly enjoyed that environment and always hoped I could restart my own business someday. In 2013, I built my first product as a side project. I never advertised it, yet somehow I had customers. We'll come back to that in a moment. My original plan was to go full-time when the product could sustain me. Unfortunately, without putting in the effort, growth eventually stalled. So after 10 years, at the end of 2023, I finally took the leap. I went full-time and even applied for government funding to help with the transition. And here we are, a year later, and my business is failing, at least for now. But there are some big wins that I'm proud of. I doubled my LinkedIn followers, generating 350,000 impressions. I rebooted my YouTube channel, and I spoke at 4 different conferences and delivered my first opening keynote. Most importantly, I learned a ton about running a solo business, skills that will be vital for what's next. So here is a question for you. If you were to start a business right now, what skills would you need to learn? Seriously, pause and think about it. Got it? You probably thought of building the product and advertising it, right? But what about accounting, business planning, market research, conducting effective client interviews? Over the years, I have learned so many things. I tend to pick up new hobbies every few years, so I know I'm good at learning things quickly. Still, there was an overwhelming amount I had to learn, almost everything from scratch. It's also incredibly hard to know what to focus on. When you try to learn everything at once, it feels like you are getting nowhere. Luckily, I had a mentor who helped me. For example, he insisted on completing a business model canvas with me. I was already familiar with the tool, but never really thought much of it, so I wasn't keen on doing it. But I was shocked by the level of detail he went into. He didn't let me fill in the blanks based on the gut feel alone. Instead, he helped me gather data to confirm or debunk my assumptions. Later, that helped a lot with knowing what to focus on. So if you're new to running a business, find an experienced mentor. Having that support is invaluable. But even with a mentor, I still made a terrible mistake that probably cost me thousands of euros in lost deals. When I shifted my focus to actively marketing, my results got worse. It made no sense to me. Remember when I said I wasn't marketing, but I still had customers? Turns out I was marketing without even realizing it. When I started doing what I thought marketing was, I stopped doing what was actually working. Let me show you 2 of my past videos. Try to spot the problem. Would you rather buy from this person? One by one, they were cleaning up, and basically this was interesting because this is not refactoring in a code base. This is refactoring across microservices. Like, that's crazy hard. But they did it. Or this person. What if there was a way to avoid missed deadlines, build trust towards your leaders and your users? Well, it is possible, and I wanted to help others achieve that, but simply explaining my system wasn't enough. Cringe. Notice how one feels like I'm helping and the other one feels like I'm selling? By speaking at conferences and freely sharing my knowledge, I was building trust and attracting clients organically. But when I shifted to explicitly selling, suddenly all of my content had a hidden agenda, and I lost my authentic voice. The most effective marketing isn't about pushing your product, it is about offering genuine value. When people feel a personal connection with you and know they have gained something valuable, they are more likely to invest in what you have to offer. But here is the challenge. Providing value selflessly when you're running out of cash is really hard. It feels like performing a violin solo for your neighbors while your house is on fire. Sure, they might like you more and help you, but your house is on fire. The key is learning how to keep playing that solo and trust that your neighbors will come and help you in due time. Or better yet, build the trust before the flames appear. That is something I'm still working on. This is actually the third version of this video. I didn't release the first two. Am I getting closer, or should I try again? Let me know in the comments. But this last point makes me wonder, did I make a mistake by not releasing those earlier versions? After all, I could probably learn from the feedback, right? And that bugged me a lot. I don't think of myself as a perfectionist, quite the opposite. My whole business model is built on teaching engineers how to let go of perfectionism. So why do I find it so hard to make videos frequently? I see at least two reasons. First, I can let go of perfectionism as an engineer because I view each incremental release as part of the process. But with YouTube videos, once it's released, that's it. You can't revise it. You can only learn from your mistakes and apply those lessons to the next one. It's much easier to let go of perfectionism when you know you can come back and improve on the result. This also gave me a new perspective on my coding practices, and I might release a separate video on that later. But for now, the point is that failing has different costs depending on the context. When a product flops, I can iterate and build on my previous work. But when a video flops, it feels like starting all over. So I became more intentional about ensuring I learned something valuable from every release. Moreover, when I did release a video I wasn't happy with, it flopped and I didn't even learn anything from it. So what is the takeaway? I gained a deeper appreciation for true agile processes. When you can build iteratively, don't fool yourself into thinking that a few days of planning will save weeks of work. It's just not true. If you can release now and improve later, the early feedback you gain will always outweigh the careful planning. On the other hand, when you're working with a single release, be mindful of your skill level. When I was learning to play the piano, my teacher used to say, play painfully slowly, but keep the rhythm steady. If you can play it slowly, you can speed that up later. But if you rush every time, all you learn is how to stop at the part that trips you up. When you're new to something, like I am with script writing, deliberate practice beats rushing and repeating the same mistakes over and over. But the final lesson was the most painful one. When I started, I believed I had a strong product. I had repeat customers, endorsements from industry leaders. Even experts I admired for years became fans of it. With all these people paying for my product and publicly endorsing it, they must understand the value, right? Well, unfortunately, no. When I asked some of my most loyal customers what monetary value they got, not a single one could answer. They knew what they learned at my events, but none of them could connect those lessons to tangible financial benefits. So why is this a problem? If people don't see the direct value, why would they pay hundreds of euros for a ticket or thousands for a corporate event? My big lesson here is enthusiastic early adopters don't guarantee widespread adoption. If you're building anything, don't just ask people if they like it. Ask them this: what is the one big problem I solve for you? If they can't answer, you are in trouble. Either the product isn't good enough or you're not communicating its value well enough. So what is my plan for 2025? First, I'm rethinking how I communicate the value of my product. I want potential customers to understand the outcomes even before they reach out to me. Second, I'm shifting my focus from LinkedIn to YouTube. Writing on LinkedIn was a great starting point, but honestly, I never really liked it. YouTube though, I love sharing knowledge, and this is a great platform to do so. And if you want to follow my journey, hit subscribe and check out my latest video here.